This is your news source evening bulletin for today, Monday, the 31st day of October in the year 2022. I'm Gordon Mosley reporting, and here's what we're tracking tonight. Firebrand New York Attorney General Letitia James intends to formally ask the Department of Justice in the U.S. and the President Joe Biden administration to probe what she called disturbing claims of discrimination in Guyana. Speaking at a town hall meeting organized by the Guyana Caribbean Institute for Democracy last evening in New York, the New York Attorney General said from the onset that racism and discrimination will never be tolerated by the U.S. government. She said after listening to the concerns raised by Guyanese at the meeting, enough was said that requires intervention from higher authorities.
I, again, will, along with my Democratic Attorney Generals across the country, will be calling upon DOJ, Department of Justice, as well as the Biden administration to look into the allegations that have been put forth this evening.
The town hall meeting heard claims of government censorship of its critics, suppression of information, threats to opposition members and supporters, and the politicization of the Guyana police force. The New York Attorney General said those complaints are serious matters which cannot be allowed to continue and cannot be ignored.
What I heard is very disturbing. Extremely disturbing. And so my comments, I stand and reaffirm the comments of my brother, Congressmember Jeffries. The United States will not tolerate racism in Guyana or any other country. And I also want the officials to know that if any harm comes to Rickford Burke, let me say that again. If any harm comes to Rickford Burke or anyone on this dais or anyone in this room, there'll have to be answers. We will immediately demand answers, and I can tell you that someone will be held accountable for those actions.
There have been other recent calls by top U.S. government officials on the Guyana government to address the concerns of discrimination and corruption.
And so I believe in democratic institutions, and I believe that Guyana needs strong democratic institutions, and I will defend that. And I will abhor any discrimination or racism of any people, particularly people from the African diaspora.
The New York Attorney General said Guyanese who live in the U.S. and are afraid of returning home because of discrimination should report their concerns to relevant U.S. government offices for action to be taken. Last evening's Guyanese Diaspora Town Hall meeting was attended by hundreds of Guyanese who live in the New York area. It was noted that Guyanese represent the fourth largest immigrant population in New York. Complaints of discrimination have been dogging the Guyana government over the past 2 years. The government has been trying to push back against the claims by pointing to development works and initiatives being done across the country. However, critics have pointed out that a closer examination would reveal that communities that are not known to be supportive of the governing party have been seeing far less in those initiatives when compared to the communities that are known to be supportive of the governing PPP. More news coming up in just a moment.
It's been a long time coming. Overdue, some might say, but now that it's here, it will change life forever, and it is here to stay. The future is now, transforming Guyana into the 21st century. Introducing GTT Fiber. Experience internet connectivity like never before. Speeds you deserve at prices you can afford from a name you can trust. Sign up today. GTT Fiber is here. GTT. Together, we rise faster.
Giftland Office Max, we're all about customer satisfaction. Whether it's clothing and shoes for the ladies, gents, and kids, or for the latest electronics or hardware appliance, we're always thinking of satisfying you, our dear customers. Now you can shop online at www.giftlandofficemax.com. Or visit us at the Giftland Mall, where we're happy to serve each and every one of you.
Get in the game with Buster. Win a full gaming setup, Xbox X, gaming chair, gaming speaker and headset, or any of over 60 weekly prizes like Oculus Quest 2, Mini 2 drone, Nintendo Switch, and many more top gaming prizes. Check below for details.
Welcome back. Let's tell you now that retired Assistant Commissioner of Police and former Chairman of the Police Service Commission, Paul Slow, told the Guyanese Diaspora Town Hall meeting in New York that the rule of law is under attack in Guyana. And he pointed to the recent arrest of attorney Tamika Clark by the Special Organized Crime Unit as an example. The attorney was taken into custody after she advised her client to remain silent during an interview. Mr. Slow said the attack on the attorney comes as no surprise since SOCU has become a law unto itself.
SOCU, in my view, and I said that today, given all that is taking place, they are a law unto themselves, and the reason why they can operate with seeming impunity is because they have the support of senior people in the administration.
The attorney Tamika Clark has signaled her intention to initiate legal proceedings over her unlawful arrest by the ranks of SOCU. Noting that he too has been the subject of personal attacks by the governing administration, the retired Assistant Police Commissioner said the attacks intensified in late 2020 into 2021 after he objected to an alleged attempt by the president to influence the promotion of senior officers of the Guyana Police Force. Ignoring the wishes of the president, the PSC went ahead and drafted a list of officers to be promoted. But even before the list could be finalized, then Senior Superintendent of Police Calvin Brutus challenged the promotion of police officers, who he claimed had disciplinary matters pending against them. His challenge was eventually thrown out by the court.
The matter was set to be ruled on the 18th of June, 2021. On the 16th of June, the president suspended all members of the commission. And we are sure from all the evidence that was done because they knew that the ruling would have gone against Brutus and others and did not want a commission in place to promote the people that were identified.
Mr. Slow told the diaspora meeting that along with other retired senior officers, he was also charged with conspiracy to commit fraud, and there was an attempt by the same SOCU to arrest him at the court as he appeared to answer to the charge. Meanwhile, Chartered Accountant Nigel Hines called on the U.S. to condemn all violations of economic and human rights by the PP Civic Administration.
What we need now is a U.S. House of Representatives resolution to condemn the condition and conduct of President Irfan Ali and his administration for their actions of economic persecution of African Guyanese and non-supporters of the PPP. We urge the United States executive branch to condemn all violations of economic and human rights in Guyana
The chartered accountant told the diaspora meeting that the PP civic government has been operating in what he called a dictatorial manner, while claiming to be practicing and promoting inclusivity and togetherness. He said on a daily basis, Guyanese are complaining about the barriers to finance in the country, the unfair award of contracts, unemployment, and the biasness of the private sector. The chartered accountant said that Guyana can be the pivot that provides a benchmark for economic prosperity. However, as it currently stands, more than 40% of the country's population lives in poverty, at a time when the Natural Resource Fund has over $1.5 billion US dollars. The diaspora meeting was also attended by a number of government officials in the New York area. A private jet that flew in officials from an international company for meetings with local officials was broken into at the Chedijagan airport, triggering a major investigation. Senior police officials have confirmed to news source that the investigators are probing the report of the alleged break-in of the private aircraft. The aircraft, bearing registration number N111RE, arrived at the country's main international airport last Wednesday afternoon. It was parked close to the hangar of the Guyana Defense Force Air Corps at the airport after its crew and passengers left for their two-day visit. News source understands that on Friday, when the pilots arrived at the airport to prepare for their flight out of Guyana, the main door of the aircraft was found to be breached and was left slightly open. An alarm was raised, and it was discovered that a number of small items, including liquor and other drinks, were missing from the aircraft. There was no damage to the aircraft, and it left Guyana with its passengers on Friday for Brownsville, Texas. The Guyana Police Force has confirmed that there has been one arrest in the case. A man who lives near to the airport was arrested, and a number of the stolen items recovered from him. Meanwhile, the incident has renewed calls for increased security at the airport. A senior official in the aviation industry said, "This is not the first time that there has been such an incident at the airport." The official said there is clearly the need for additional personnel and security equipment at the international airport. The probe of the incident is ongoing, and the suspect could face the court before the end of this week. Admitting that a large percentage of men have dropped the ball and in effect have failed to adequately take up their responsibilities, President Irfan on Friday challenged the nation's men and boys to join forces to collectively tackle the issues confronting them as he launched Men on a Mission. Men on a Mission forms part of the larger 1,000-man initiative. Addressing a wide cross-section of men at the launch event, President Ali was the first to admit that the challenges confronting men and boys are complex and cannot be addressed individually, but rather as a collective.
Unless we are able to build systems through which we can support each other, through which we can uplift each other, through which we can integrate better with each other, through which we can celebrate each other, we'll be doing nothing more than building a selfish community rather than a selfless community.
The president said in many instances, women are left to shoulder the responsibilities of raising their children and managing their homes single-handedly, as men have dropped the ball.
But we as men, we have dropped the ball. We have dropped the ball in community, in families, in society. Today, it is about us picking up back that ball and supporting the women and ensuring that they are given that equal shoulder to take the burden and responsibility of creating a beautiful nation.
The president said that while some men have shouldered their responsibilities tremendously, the reality is a high percentage of the nation's men have fallen short of their responsibility, and their actions may very well have rippling effects that could be felt throughout the society. He said the mission is largely intended to create a network that would allow for men to be supportive of each other at all levels.
And that is what the mission is about. It is about shouldering that responsibility. It is about demonstrating a collective will to act. It is about demonstrating a collective understanding of the problem. And it's about demonstrating a collective idea of creating a new system and institution that support a modern society that is built on foundation that will see no longer in the headlines violence against women and children.
It was pointed out at the launching that between 2017 and 2022, the University of Guyana enrolled between 24% and 36% of male students. Further, over a 5-year period, only 16,294 men enrolled at the university, against a student population of more than 45,000. President Ali said it is time to change the way men are portrayed in the society.
It's time to live it up with Rubis and win! Spend $4,500 or more in Ultratech fuel at any Rubis service station and get an entry card. Win one of 3 amazing grand prizes of $500,000 cash, $500,000 in Ultratech fuel, or $500,000 in groceries. Each week you could win fabulous weekly prizes including staycations, dinners, spa and fuel vouchers, cash, electronics, and more. Live it up with Rubis and make sure you're in with a chance to win!
The writers of this program are depending on my ethnic but non-threatening voice to explain things they are too lazy to set up traditionally. Only 2 months into the semester.
Marcus, I was watching that. What's the matter with you?
Noreen, why you have all these things plugged in, man? You really don't check them bills, you know? You know the cost of electricity?
Marcus, you can't be so ridiculous. That's the fridge. Why would you unplug the fridge?
I don't understand why the cost of electricity is so high in this country, man. Somebody has to do something.
Marcus, you know what I realize? Something is really wrong with you. How are we supposed to live without electricity?
Hello, just like our ancestors survived back in the days.
I will have you know, Marcus, Noreen Angela Melville is not cut out for that type of life.
And already the 9th Ivy League squad buzz with future Olympians and presidents.
Did you know the Gas to Energy project is expected to reduce the cost of electricity by up to 50%? Yes, that project will slash electricity bills in half. This will also unleash a tsunami of benefits for the manufacturing sector in Guyana.
Wow. Marcus, did you hear that? Electricity will be cheaper. Now, Marcus, for the love of God, plug the fridge back in.
For the admissions brochure.
Calling all prospective homeowners. The government of Guyana, through the Ministry of Housing and Water, will be rolling out its steel and cement housing subsidy program from Tuesday, October 25, 2022. Applicants must be a citizen of Guyana residing in the country, must be in possession of a title or transport for their house lot, must have an approved building plan and loan approval from a financial institution. Persons with a builder's estimate below $6 million can qualify for 1 sling of cement, 80 lengths of half-inch steel rods, and 63/8-inch rods. Those with builder's estimate ranging from $6 million to $25 million can qualify for 2 slings of cement. Application forms can be uplifted from the Ministry's Brickdam Main Office, Georgetown, and all regional housing offices from Tuesday, October 25, 2022. For more information and online applications, visit our website at chpa.gov.gy.
Months after he opted for early retirement from the Guyana Defense Force, bringing an end to his job as director of the Guyana Civil Defense Commission, retired Lieutenant Colonel Kester Craig has landed a big role with the Caribbean Disaster Emergency Management Agency. Craig will serve as the new Deputy Executive Director of the agency from January and will be based at its Barbados headquarters. Craig, who spent 25 years as an officer in the GDF, served at the CDC for 16 years, retiring as its director recently. His decision to retire early from the GDF was reportedly triggered by a planned move by the government to remove him from the top CDC post and have him return to the GDF for full-time duties. Mr. Craig's experience in disaster risk management was key in his appointment to the regional body. While he was head of the CDC, he served as the chairman of SEDEMA's Plan Development and Review Committee. He's previously served also as the vice chairman of the Association of Caribbean States Special Committee on Disaster Risk Reduction and was the founder and coordinator of the CDC Volunteer Corps. He is the holder of a Master of Public Administration from the Walter University, as well as a Bachelor of Arts degree in Emergency and Disaster Management from the American Military University. Craig also has various qualifications in the area of public and disaster management. News Source understands that at SEDIM, he will lead the agency's Technical Program Management Division, which overlooks a number of critical programs and departments. Police in Essex County, New Jersey are probing the shooting death of Guyanese Rayon Shepherd. According to police in the Newark area, the incident took place last Thursday night in Newark's West Ward. The police said at approximately 9:30 p.m. police responded to reports of shots being fired near 153 Isabella Avenue. When the police units arrived, they found a severely injured, unconscious, and unresponsive male suffering multiple wounds. The victim was pronounced dead a short time later. The Essex County Prosecutor's Office arrived on the scene and took over the investigation, which remains active and ongoing. A motive for the crime has not been determined, though investigators are said to be pursuing a number of leads. A male suspect who has not been named by the authorities is being pursued for the crime. A local tourist was swept away by strong currents in the Iring River during a visit to the Orinduke Falls on Sunday. The man, who has been identified as Gladstone Haynes, was among a group of tourists who visited the site in the company of a local airline and tour operator. During the visit to the Orinduke Falls, the man reportedly made his way out into the water, but was suddenly swept away by the strong river current. A search operation was launched after an alarm was raised, but it did not yield any results. This morning, members of the GDF Special Forces Unit traveled to the area to assist with the search operation. A full search and rescue operation is on the way, but it may soon be downgraded to a search and recovery effort as hope continues to dim. The Orinduke Waterfall is one of the country's top tourist destinations and is usually coupled with visits to Kaichor Falls.
Yeah, we counting way from region 1 to region 10, the whole country.
We've just completed our census interview. It's quite a simple process. Whenever the team comes to your home, kindly cooperate and get the interview done, because it's also important for the information to be available to us as a government to plan and implement our programs and projects for the development of Guyana, a development that you will benefit from.
Yeah, we counting way from region 1 to region 10, the whole country.
Food Max Supermarket, located on the ground floor at the Giftland Mall, is your one-stop shop for all your grocery needs. We stock a variety of imported frozen meat and food products, fresh produce, and pet supplies, freshly made bread. Rotisserie chicken and patties are also available daily. Shop in comfort today at Food Max and let our courteous staff assist you in satisfying your shopping needs. Food Max, the fresh food specialist.
Rooms and more, Republic, a brand new rug on the floor. Come to Republic, come to Republic. Whatever you need, you got it. Come to and get your mortgage. Live the dream with Republic.
95 to 100% financing, 50% waiver of negotiation fees, plus one lucky person gets their mortgage paid in full. Turn someday into today. Talk to Republic Bank about your low-cost mortgage today.
Get in the game with Buster. Win a full gaming setup, Xbox X, gaming chair, gaming speaker and headset, or any of over 60 weekly prizes like Oculus Quest 2, Mini 2 drone, Nintendo Switch, and many more top gaming prizes. Check below for details.
Fuel it up and drive, Super 95. Tune up, fuel it up and drive, Super 95. Tune up. Protect your fuel system, boy. High mileage and performance, boy.
Guy Oil's Super 95 gasoline gives you more reasons to drive and is available at 56 service stations nationwide. For affordable price, high performance, and high mileage, choose Guy Oil's Super 95 gasoline.
Fuel it up and drive.
Across the region tonight, Brazil has taken a turn to the left as former President Luiz Inácio Lula da Silva beat far-right incumbent Jair Bolsonaro in the presidential election, returning to office for a third term. After a divisive campaign which saw two bitter rivals on opposite sides of the political spectrum go head-to-head, Lula won 50.9% of the votes. It was enough to beat Jair Bolsonaro, whose supporters had been confident of victory. But the division which this election has highlighted is unlikely to vanish, reports the BBC. The BBC reported that it is a stunning comeback for a politician who could not run in the last presidential election in 2018 because he was in jail and banned from standing for office. He had been found guilty of receiving a bribe from a Brazilian construction firm in return for contracts with Brazil's state oil company Petrobras. He spent 580 days in jail before his conviction was annulled and he returned to the political fray. Russia has added Bermuda, the Cayman Islands, Montserrat and Turks and Caicos Islands to its list of unfriendly states on Sunday. In a statement, the Russian government said that it added 11 British overseas territories to its unfriendly nations list due to sanctions imposed by the United Kingdom. Bermuda, Cayman Islands, Montserrat and Turks and Caicos Islands joined Anguilla and the British Virgin Islands that were added to the list shortly after sanctions were announced. Bermuda had been on Moscow's radar after its Civil Aviation Authority revoked the airworthiness certificates of over 740 Russian aircraft that are registered on the island. The Bahamas is the only other Caribbean state on Russia's unfriendly list. And finally tonight, international news. A rescue operation begun after a pedestrian suspension bridge collapse in India's western state of Gujarat has been scaled down as hopes fade of more survivors being found. Officials said 141 people, most of them women, children or the elderly, died after the bridge collapsed on Sunday evening. The 140-year-old structure in Morbi town reopened a week ago after repairs. There was overcrowding on the bridge, a major local tourist attraction, at the time of it collapsed. The police are questioning 8 people in connection with the incident. An official refused to confirm whether employees from the Oriva Group, the firm which was in charge of maintaining the bridge, may be also among those being questioned. Questions have been raised about why the Oriva Group, a company which once described itself as the world's largest clock manufacturing company, was given the responsibility for maintaining the bridge. And that's your News Source Evening Bulletin for tonight. I'm Gordon Mosley, reporting and encouraging you to stay safe.